All right, y'all. Y'all know what day it is. I'm trying to get myself situated. Whew. It is Thursday. It is time for Krystal Talks Cancer. Let me see. Just give me a minute. We got a guest tonight, and I am super excited. If this is your first time here, just to know that you are in for a treat. And I always tell people, like, if you starting at the beginning of the live, most of the time it's okay if you're rewatching this to skip past this part. Just go ahead and try to go, let me see, like 8 minutes in, I guess, because we'll probably be sitting and getting things together for about 8 minutes or so. So make sure that you skip to like minute 8 or something like that, so that you're not just sitting here and idle with us. Or you can just wait until you see our guest join, and once our guest joins and we start talking, then you watch. Totally up to you. Totally up to you. I hope everyone's had an amazing week. It has been a week, but we are here. We are here. I use this time, this opportunity to, let me see. I use this opportunity to, Sabrina, could you just check and make sure that your app is updated? Because I'm starting to see everybody else, but I do not see you. And I just received your message. Let me see. Okay, let me see. Just make sure that your app is updated for me. Y'all are definitely in for a treat, because the backstage got me prepared for tonight. It definitely got me prepared for tonight. Let me see. We're trying to see what's going on with our guest. This is another reason why we start early, so that we can work out any issues that we may have. Okay, I'm so glad that you can hear me. I'm still watching to see if it'll pop you up on my end too, Sabrina. Y'all, this week has been one emotional roller coaster. So I guess we can talk about that until we figure out what's going on here. Everybody with the hormone blockers, listen. Oh, I guess we gotta wait, because now we have our guest. This journey is not for the week, but I will say this: at the end of the day, what choices do we have? And again, Sabrina, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you see me on your
I
screen by any
I
chance?
can, but how do I change it to? Oh, send help.
Send help.
How do I add? I'm looking at the options down here to add a
Your
video.
video, oh yeah, your video is off.
Right. How do I change that now that I'm in here?
That part I don't know. That's new to me.
All right.
Anybody know how to change that? And I'm gonna tell y'all, everybody, who is here, Sabrina, if you want to pop out and pop
Yeah.
back in, you
Let me
can.
try that.
Okay.
All right.
I'm excited, y'all. Like, I'm telling you, the conversations that we've had, y'all are in for a treat tonight. If there's someone who is normally here, you know I'm off my game. I haven't even at my followers or anything. I haven't tagged people. Like, I'm just, this is one of them nights, weeks. Um, and we talked about this before. It's work. Is it working?
Yes.
Let's see. Can y'all see her? Okay, yeah. So what happens is on my phone, it's doing it again. So I can't see. Like the bottom of my screen is black. I need to figure out why this is happening. I have zero understanding as to why it's happening. They can see because I can see you on my laptop, but I cannot physically see you from my device.
Oh,
Um, so that's weird. But we're not gonna even worry about it. The show will go on, right? It's going to go on.
we had some
That's
FaceTime a few minutes ago, Krystal.
yeah, yeah. And as long as I can hear your voice and see your face on my laptop, we are good. It may be a little delayed on my laptop, but
That's good.
so I'll I'll tell you this, what I've learned from doing this way, from looking on my laptop. Um, I'll try to wait until you stop talking so that I can jump in or try to jump like don't think that I'm cutting you off because I can't see
That's
you.
fine.
I guess that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going with that. Don't
All
think that
good.
I'm cutting you off because I can't see you. Um, y'all, I'm excited for tonight. And oh, how is everybody doing? I see that we have some people in the room. Please share. Please share. Everybody that's in here, please share. If you're a part of the group, please share. If you notice that someone is normally here and they're not here, and you're their friend on Facebook, please tag them in in here. Um, it's exciting whenever I pop on and I get a nice amount of people. And before I even tag, that shows me that this is not all for nothing. That everybody sees the mission and we are coming together and actually making this vision a reality, this community of support reality. And even those who are not going through the journey, I thank you for being here just to hear us and know the type of things that we are going through and the things that we deal with on a regular basis. And some of the things that we deal with that we don't even talk about. So I thank you for being here, support, and even to learn. You know, um, it's I'm gonna tell y'all, it's one of them nights so bad that I'm tagging myself. Who tagged themselves? I'm tagging myself in the live tonight, y'all. Just bear with me. We will start about 8:02. I just need a little bit of time to tag a couple of people and allow those who want to be here the opportunity to come into the room. How's everybody's week going? Hey, Miss Irma. Oh my goodness, I'm always excited to see Miss Irma um, and to catch up because sometimes life, life, it happens, and we know that Miss Irma is still going through the journey, and so we're going to continue to uplift her. Please give us an update on how you're doing, Miss Irma, if you don't mind. I am so glad to see you. I'm always glad to see you, and I thank you so much for your support and your transparency. And I hope to see your face on here again real soon. Um, um, everybody, how's your week going? I see we have people in the room. And for those who are nervous about sharing, I do leave that option if you have a question that you may need answered and you don't want to come out and say it openly. I do have my laptop. So whenever you see me looking down, just know that I am on my laptop. Here's my laptop. Hey, Joan. If you're not new here, you know that I do this every week and I have my laptop in my lap so I can get your messages and I can see your comments and we can answer everything. And, just support as much as we possibly can. I do want to remind everybody that stars are not required, but they are very much welcome. As it's hard getting this algorithm up on Facebook. I'm just gonna keep it all the way honest with y'all. It's hard to get the reach when people do not share. So please share the content. Please follow both pages. Uh, this page, which is my personal page, and the Krystal Talks Cancer page. And I say follow both because just in case we have to have a backup, we have a backup. And we don't have to worry about it. So I think that's it. Nope, that's not it. Um, and chemo brain is real, okay? I just, I, before, we have to introduce her every week, like she pops up. So if y'all hear me say, "Oh, she's in the room," that means whatever I was about to pour into you, I 9 out of 10 forgot it. It went to the left, and my brain went to the right. It's not intentional, but it does happen sometimes. We have to give each other grace. That also happens with our guests. Um, Majority of the ladies that come on here have gone through chemo. So we have to give everybody grace and just know this is a safe space. And lastly, I have not had to really block anybody, but this is a positive space. This is a supportive space. This is a space of transparency, of understanding, no judgment. We talk about a lot of things and support each other as much as we possibly can. And as we grow, I don't want to block anybody. So please, let's be nice. Let's be courteous. Let's be considerate. And the person that I had to block was a spammer. So I know that, we're all good people, right? So we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, right on time. I think it's 8:02, so we're gonna go ahead and start it. And tonight might be one of those nights that I'm looking down a lot because I cannot see her. I see a black screen. So if y'all see my eyes looking cross-eyed, it's because I'm trying to figure out which screen I'm gonna look at. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. Um, Good evening, Sabrina.
Hi, Krystal.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am getting through one day at a time.
It's all we can
Virtually
ask for. It's all
one
we
day
can
at a
ask
time.
for. Yep.
Could you go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone? See, I told y'all she showed up quick.
Sure. So my name's Sabrina. I am 47. I am married. I have three sons, 19, 16, and 10. I was diagnosed last year at 46. I was 45. It was the day before my birthday when I got the phone call. Um, I felt fine. I was fine until they told me I wasn't. So that's how my story started. And so I got the call, and my husband and I we opted to be private about it until we went to the doctor and had information to share. It just didn't feel right to share with our kids or with our family and say, "Oh, by the way, I have cancer." That's all I got. Chew on that. Um, so we held that close until we went to the doctor. I was diagnosed stage one, um, grade two, triple positive IDC. Um, so, for anybody that's watching that doesn't know, stage one is very early on. However, grade two the grades are essentially the rate at which it progresses. So you kind of want that number to be as low as possible as well. But due to my age, and I was premenopausal, and all of those factors, we treated my cancer very aggressively, um, with the end goal of being around for another 50 years. So, um, but that's a little bit of my story and how I got here. Um, so
So, what was life like for you before you were diagnosed?
before I was diagnosed, life was blissful. It was, I got three boys, three very active boys. They all play sports. It was my son's senior year of high school. Um, and we were involved in everything. We were doing all of the things. I was helping to plan their post prom for school. I was, my my younger one's playing, let's see, it was January, so it was basketball season. So they're all playing basketball for school and for the local community. And um, it was busy. Life was busy. And then, you get diagnosed and essentially you pump the brakes, right? Um, but I I didn't want my kids to look back at that year in their life and be like, "Oh, that's when mom was sick." I did everything I could to still be there for everything I could. I wanted them to remember seeing me push through those dark days and being there for them. So, um and I think I was successful at that. It's a whole blur, but I think I was successful at that. There's definitely times where it's hard to get off the couch, and that's okay. Um, but I think I was pretty successful at that.
Yeah. And it's crazy because, I have younger kids and I thought the same thing. Like, I don't want them to notice, right? But they definitely notice. And I think hearing you say it out loud, we've talked about it before, like how we feel about our kids, because your family goes through the
Mhm.
journey with you. So the way that you feel about your kids going through or navigating through the journey with you it's an emotional roller coaster because I look at my babies and I'm like, y'all are babies. Like
Mhm.
y'all literally had to grow up really, really quick.
Mhm.
Even though a lot of people feel like it lasts a year, it's not a year for everybody. And then the after effects of the diagnosis, which we're going to get into later, those things play a role as well in your kids and how you navigate through things. And I think that's a part of my emotional roller coaster too,
Yep.
because you think about your kids a lot. And your boy mom. I just noticed that. Like, we're boy moms. We're
We
total.
are. We
We're boy
are.
moms.
We have to be tough.
Yeah. Like, we have to be. Definitely have
So,
to be tough.
yeah, for
So
sure.
what was your what was your mental like? Well, first off, how did you find your your tumor?
I did not. So I have very dense breasts. So I did not feel it. Um, I had my mammogram in March of, I guess it was 2023. It came back fine. And for everybody listening, if you have dense tissue, when you look at a mammogram, the tissue just shows up as all white. You can't really discern the difference between, a tumor or tissue at that point. So 6 months later, so I was on a cycle that I was getting a mammogram, and then 6 months later, I'd get an MRI, mammogram, MRI, and so forth. And that was because my mom is a breast cancer survivor. And so I went for my MRI in November, and they called me back and said they needed me to go for a second look, which is common, right? When you have an MRI of the breast, it's common for them to say, "Hey, we need a second look." So I would go for a second look, and I saw on my report that it had said that it was probably malignant. And I knew at that point they're not going to put that in there, and the BI-RADS were high, um, so that's how it was found. It was only seen in the MRI. They couldn't see it in an ultrasound. They couldn't see it in the mammogram. Even knowing exactly where it was, my oncologist couldn't feel it. My breast surgeon couldn't feel it. Nobody could feel it. So thank God for the MRI.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And that's one of those things that we talk about a lot here. It's important to know your family history. And I'm glad that you knew that your mom went through that journey because it allowed you the opportunity to at least stay on top of your own mammograms Very
Absolutely. And I will say it, and I put it on my Facebook all the time, and I'm going to say it to everybody listening. If you have a first degree relative that had breast cancer or cancer of any type, get a pen and write this down. You need to have it in your chart that you have a first degree relative. There is a specific code. It's not just mother with breast cancer, it is first degree relative. And that opens you up for further scanning and testing. So the unfortunate thing is that you spend so much time advocating for yourself for this stuff, right? Because sometimes the doctors don't know either. So, so I, like I said, you got a pen, write it down. First degree relative.
yeah. So did they have you do well, a BRCA test? Did they test you for BRCA 1 and 2, even though
I,
you
yep, I did. So when my mom was diagnosed, I don't know, 13, 14 years ago, um, she was not eligible for the bracket for the genetic testing
genetic?
at the time because she was the first one in our family to have cancer. Um, and so when I was diagnosed, my doctor sent me for BRCA testing, and my genetic testing came back negative. So it's a fluke that my mother and I both had breast cancer.
And we talk about the different ways, right?
Hmm.
Because my aunt had colorectal, and her
Hmm.
daughter had breast. And I took the genetics test, and nothing, no genetic mutation or anything. And whenever we think about how we get it, right? A lot of people want to pinpoint, how did I get cancer? How did I end up with cancer or whatever? And you take this genetics test. So now that knocks out, oh, it's genetic. So now we
Hmm.
know that it's not genetic. Okay, so what other things
Yeah.
are left? Our environment, our food, and our stress. Some people try to pinpoint it. I tried to pinpoint it. We'll never know.
Right.
Said all that to say we'll never know.
Hmm.
But the genetics test is good, and I want to say this before you petition for a genetics test. To everybody watching, make sure you have all of the insurance that you're ever gonna want, that you're ever gonna need. Because by any chance your genetics test come back and you have a genetic mutation,
Hmm.
your premiums and things may go up.
Yep.
And even having a suspicion of breast cancer. And it's sad that we got to think about these things before. And don't wait for any, look, listen, do not wait to go to the doctor because you want to get insurance. What I'm saying is, if you get a mammogram and it's a benign cyst or something, get more insurance. Be proactive
Yep.
in your doings. That way, if it ever comes to, you'll be prepared for it, and you won't have to worry about it.
Hmm.
Um, and check your insurance premiums whenever you go through, or whenever you're going through the journey, or you find out. There's a lot of, and I'm gonna put myself out there for a minute. Um, Sabrina, I don't know if you experienced this, but I had a policy that had a rider on the back for breast cancer and missed the mark because I was in fight mode and everything else just was irrelevant.
Mm.
When you get a diagnosis of breast cancer or cancer in general,
Right.
everything goes out the
Yeah.
window outside of, okay, I want to live. You don't think about anything else except I gotta do this, I gotta do that. This is
Yep.
what demands my attention at the moment, and you just start hyper focusing on survival. So I'm here, and I come here every week because I want to remind everybody: check those insurance policies. Make sure that you're not leaving any money on the table. If you have any kind of Aflac, any kind of thing like that, make sure that you're getting that. Make sure that you are doing the applications for the grants and things, for different organizations. We did a resource
Hmm.
live. check your resources for your local area. Also check like Susan G. Coleman, the Cancer Centers of America, and see the type of things that they may have in order to help people who are going through
Yep.
the journey. You may feel like you don't need these things right now, but let me tell you, I didn't have this option because I went through the journey during COVID. And guess what I got every time I looked up a resource? No funds available. So y'all have funds available that you can go and that you can use. But I wish that I had
Right.
those funds at that time because now I do have medical bills and I have other things, that I wish I would have been able to take care of with grant money and medications and things like that. So stay on top of that. What they say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready kind of situation. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yep.
But Sabrina, I was gonna ask you, so what was your treatment plan?
So I did I did 12 weeks of chemo, and my chemo was TCH, so I had Taxotere, carboplatin, and Herceptin. Um, so I would do the Taxotere and carboplatin and Herceptin for 3 weeks in a row, and then the fourth week I would just have the Herceptin, and I did that for a total of 12 weeks. So it was 4 rounds. No, three chemo brain, 3 rounds.
Which one did you do? 3 rounds?
I did all of. I did a total of 3 rounds. So I would do, yeah, I would do all three of the medications for 3 weeks in a row, and then that fourth week I would do Herceptin, and that would finish 1 round, and then I would repeat, and then repeat, and then um, so I did that, and then after that I had a lumpectomy, and um, I had breast surgery at the same time. So I had a lumpectomy, and one of the things about breast cancer now is that you are eligible for all kinds of crazy stuff, right? And I say crazy stuff because it's stuff that you don't even think about, right? Like I didn't think about um the reconstruction part of it because I was having a lumpectomy until they told me, well, you're eligible for it. So just go talk to the surgeon. So I went and talked to the plastic surgeon, and I was already, as most women are, lopsided. So he was like, "Oh, well, we can just fix that." And I was like, "Wait, what?" So I was like, "Yeah, if I can come out of this and feel whole, then that would be amazing." So the same day I had a lumpectomy and I had breast reduction and lift, and then a week, 10 days later, I had a total hysterectomy. And then I did 16 radiation treatments, and that finished up in October. So, um, yeah, it's been it was a long road. It was a lot. It was a lot.
So did they suggest immediately that you have a hysterectomy, or was there a particular reason did you not want to do the hormone treatment?
So I knew from the first time I didn't want to do, so I'm triple positive, so I can't do any like hormone type treatments, right? So my oncologist he gave me two options. I could either have an oophorectomy, which was to have my ovaries and fallopian tubes removed, or I could do the Lupron shot once a month. And that very first day that I met him and he was telling me that, and he took us in the back to show us the infusion area. And we were waiting for the nurse to come and explain everything. And I looked at my husband and I said, I'm not doing that shot. I said, because at some point I have to have some sort of finality to this. At some point, I have to say, I don't have to come here every month for any kind of treatment, right? I know I have to go for follow-ups and that kind of stuff, but I didn't want anybody I know they're going to take my blood and check my blood levels and all that kind of stuff. I didn't want anybody giving me any more injections at some point. And so at that time, I was going for the oophorectomy, and then at one point during my treatment, I had said to him, like towards the end of my chemo, I had said to him, why wouldn't I get a hysterectomy? And he was like, well, you don't need a hysterectomy. I was like, well, you're not the person to ask then. So I I waited till I went to I had a gynecology oncologist
Hmm.
um, that was going to do my surgery. And when I was talking to him, he was like, so, we're here you're going to do an oophorectomy. And I was like, well, I said, what is the benefit of keeping anything? I'm done having kids, you know. What are the pros and cons of having a total hysterectomy or keeping my uterus and cervix? And like, what are the pros and cons? He goes, there really aren't any. He said, one of the cons is that you still do run a risk you have a higher risk of cervical cancer once you've had breast cancer and all that kind of stuff, right? So I was like, yeah, let's get rid of it. If I don't need it, take it out. He's like, all right, so you want to get rid of it? I was like, listen, if I woke up without my appendix and gallbladder, I would not sue. If it's an extra part, take it. So,
Like I just
so
don't want to
that's
do it anymore. I'm over it.
so that's how we went from the oophorectomy to the hysterectomy.
Mm,
So it was me asking the questions and just deciding if if I don't need it and it could be a potential risk to me in the future, let me just get it out.
yeah.
So,
I, I know, well, for me, being young, it was, well, younger,
mhm,
it wasn't even on the table. Like,
right.
they asked me, oh, you want to freeze your eggs? Ma'am, I have two kids. Um, I want to birth success. I don't want to, and I don't mean that in a bad way. You
No, I
know,
get it.
children are a blessing. I love my
Right.
children, but it's something about going through the journey that reshifts your focus,
Hmm.
and it makes you want to be better and not just, better in a way of better at your everyday life, but actually purposeful type
Yeah.
of better. So I'm like, yeah, mm, no. We revisited it at one point, and I was just, it wasn't an option for me. And she explained to me, with my age, they do not typically
Right.
even consider it.
Mhm.
And
It is a violent shove into menopause. So,
well,
um,
the the medically induced menopause is it's also
mhm,
like I experience the same things as
for
you
sure.
do being in menopause. Like
Hmm.
the hot flashes if I eat too much sugar or if I drink caffeine or something like that. Like I'm flashing like crazy.
Yeah.
Um, it's a lot of things that come along with it, and I was curious because I know that there's a lot of women. Well, I'm not gonna say a lot. There's a few women that I've met that have had a hysterectomy because of their
Hmm.
diagnosis, and I just I just wonder why, if it was an option that your doctor gave you, or was it a personal choice? Because there are a lot of people who have personal preferences and they're like, I don't want to take the meds, so just take it out, you know?
Yeah, I think mine was more of a personal choice. I do know, like after my surgery and stuff, I went so I had to keep getting the Herceptin up until January of this year. I think January 17th was my last Herceptin. And that's for that HER2 protein. So I went for an infusion after my surgery, and I remember him laughing at me when he came in. And I love my oncologist. I love him. He's got this dry sense of humor. We click. He sits there and has this whole conversation with my husband and looks at me. He's like, yeah, you're boring. Like, and which is the highest compliment an oncologist could ever give you, is to tell you that you're boring. Um, But he was like, "Oh, I see you got the hysterectomy." And I looked at him, I laughed. I said, "I told you you weren't the person to ask." And that was the end of that. So, it was more of a, there was no benefit at my age, right? Like we needed me to be in menopause because of being triple positive. So there was no benefit for me to keep anything
Yeah.
versus getting rid of it. There was more of a benefit to me, right? Those pros outweighed the cons. I never have to worry about that again, which is
Yeah.
amazing. And
Yeah.
you know, so
I don't miss them. And I'm gonna
no.
be honest, I'm nervous because I'm like, okay, after the time is up for this, will they return? So I'm kind of scared because I don't. Yeah, that's a lot to take
How
in.
long did they keep you on the Lupron?
5 to 10
Okay.
because I was diagnosed stage 3,
Hmm.
grade 3, and it was invasive ductal carcinoma, and it was also triple positive.
Yeah.
So he quoted me 5, and then 1 minute she said 10, and then 1 minute she's like, okay, we may not do 10, we may do 5, and then, oh, you got a shot coming up. And what we were talking about earlier was the me not getting the shot and the emotions and things that have been
Hmm.
connected to that and the medication and things. And I'm going to be honest, it makes me a little bit nervous for when that time comes when I'm actually off of the meds. Um, so we'll kind of talk about that too, but I want to make sure that we stay on, on task. But um, so what are some things that you've noticed, like going through your journey, that you feel that it's important for others to know, or even the people that are on the outside of the journey?
Um, as far as
Anything. Like we were talking earlier about the journey itself and the after
mm,
um, effects of the journey. So, like, what are some things that you know you feel that maybe you've experienced that others may not understand? This is a
okay.
different question tonight
Yeah.
because we had a very intriguing conversation beforehand, and it was very inspiring for me. As y'all know, normally I try to wear some hints of pink, right? Um, it's been a lot of emotions, and I'm very transparent here, and a lot of times before I do the shows, the guest and I talk a little bit beforehand just to make sure, to get the nerves down and all of the things. And tonight it was like me jumping from prayer call directly into um, getting on Messenger with Sabrina and the waterworks. Like I cried all the way that whole hour that we were in prayer call. I was just not just crying in my emotions and things. And it's a lot whenever you are. We're talking about menopause just now, and when you're taking Lupron and letrozole, and I'm learning some of this is not actually me. It's my body going through what this journey has brought me through. Some people may not understand that. Some people may feel like, oh, you're just emotional, you're just this, that, and the other. But it's really a lot. And it's a lot when you're trying to process other feelings and emotions and you're trying to still get up and show up every day. Um, and for me, um, going through the journey and when I'm overly stimulated, as y'all can see, I keep saying, these are things that I've noticed about myself going through this. When it comes down to chemo brain, when I'm like overwhelmed or overly stimulated, my words come out of left field sometimes, and I'm like, because I'm trying to catch it, and I'm trying to get it out. But uh, me recognizing the medication and the the lasting effects of the journey. I don't want, and I was telling you this earlier. I feel like this. is something that we all collectively have to talk about, because at the end of the day, for people on the outside looking in who may not understand, they can be looking at one or two people saying the same thing or whatever, and they're just like, oh, you know. But when everyone starts to talk about the real effects that they have with these medications, or the mental, the emotional, the physical, the aftermath, when we make this a real topic of discussion, I feel like it'll help even those who aren't going through. It'll give support to those who are, but also enlighten those who aren't, and give them a place to start. And what I mean by start is start to understand,
Right.
start to show empathy and sympathy and all of the things in what we experience going through the journey, because life does not magically bounce back. If someone told you that life bounces back after you go through this journey, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I'm going to tell you that it doesn't.
That's definitely one of the biggest misconceptions, I want to say. Um, you were just talking about our call before, and one of the things that I struggle with even still is, you know, allowing myself grace. Um, I feel like I had an expectation of myself to bounce back. Like, okay, I'm done chemo, and okay, I'm done getting Herceptin, and why am I still not the same, not the person I used to be? I will never be that person again. That person changed on January 8th of last year when I answered that phone and told you that earlier. I will never be that same person again. And I honestly think that I'm a better version of me now than I was before. I I try to be more purposeful in what I do and what I say, not only for others, but for myself, you know, and I try to allow myself that grace to do what I need to do to help myself mentally and physically, and to be that best version of me that I can be. Um, I think one of the things that, and you started to touch on it too, is, you know, you call it a journey, I call it a story. When I think journey, I want to stamp in my passport. I want to go somewhere tropical,
Yeah,
put a drink in my hand with an umbrella.
I love that. No, seriously.
So, but one of the things that that people think, um, or that I've had people say to me, is that, like, you're done. You're done. Uh, I'm not done. I'm never going to be done. Um, there's a lot of trauma, and I don't want to make light of any type of term, but almost PTSD that comes with this diagnosis and the treatment, and figuring out who the heck you are now and embracing that person. It's so hard. My computer's going crazy over here. I don't know if you see the light changing. It's so hard, and it's so difficult to embrace that process, and to just let it be, and to go with it. Um, so that's a really difficult process, and it's really I wish more people understood that, both patients and support. I wish more people understood that, you know, the story doesn't end. It's just a new chapter. So,
And you keep going through it the best way that you possibly can. And some days you have days, some
hmm
weeks you have weeks. And I'm thankful that I feel that the months have passed, because I'll be like gentle and kind sometimes. And
hmm
that giving yourself grace is so important. And not learning not to mourn who you were, but to embrace who you're becoming. has been my thing. Um, I feel like this journey taught me a lot of things. It revealed a lot of things about myself, about others around me, about my experiences, about how I used to think and how I used to feel,
Hmm.
about how much I overplayed my role in so many different ways, how I was unappreciated, undervalued. Like it just it opens up a whole lot of things. But now you have all of these feelings, right? All of these emotions, and they're here. They're sitting right here. How do you sort through them? How do you process them? How do you think? You have to
Yep.
give yourself grace, and you have to go through it day by day. And although I try to remind myself that every day, you know, God has the ability to remove, replace, rearrange, restore, all of the things. But when you're in the thick of everything, it's hard. You're
Yep.
still going to cry. You're still going to feel your emotions. You're still going to go through those emotions. But then
Yep.
giving yourself grace, like, like Sabrina said a minute ago, like that sometimes is the hardest thing to do, which is
Yep.
why, and I didn't tell you earlier, but that was one of the things about the prayer call because I sat on that phone that whole, probably sat on the phone 45 minutes and said absolutely nothing. Just listened to everything that everybody was saying in the background. I'm just mute. I'm on mute. I'm just bawling because it's like they were talking about how we go through like the experiences that we have, and it seems like the more we do, the more we have to do, or the more challenges come our way when we feel like we're actually getting to a point
Hmm.
where everything is going to be. It wasn't even a prayer call about breast cancer, right? This is
Right.
just life. Now, the role being a survivor of breast cancer, the role being a mom, a wife, and dealing with things within those relationships. Think about all of the things that come through even being a full-time employee. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like it's a lot when your body has not bounced back or you haven't. I personally don't have the energy that I used to have. What about you?
But like I said earlier, Crystal, and I think it's important for everybody is in not just breast cancer, but in life in general. I go back to what my mom told me in the very beginning. It is okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
It is okay to feel the feels. It is okay. It is also okay to be okay. But it's the most important thing is to recognize both of them, to say to yourself, okay, I'm not okay today. I need a minute, and allow yourself that grace to not be okay. And we I think because moms are supposed to be like these superhumans where we do everything, we're baking the cookies and we're doing this and we're running this one here, doing laundry, cleaning this, cooking dinner, all this kind of stuff that I don't do all the time. Honestly, my husband cooks most of the dinners, but that's a
Right.
whole other thing.
It's
But
done. Teamwork.
but right. But like you're supposed to be these superhumans that are working full time and then working full time, right? You're working full time at your paying job and then you're working full time where you get paid in hugs. Um, but there's no we feel this responsibility to be able to do all of those things and pull all of those things off. One of the things that I've learned from my story is that I'm not that superhero. I'm not. I do need to hold that couch down. If you want to come talk to me, come on in. Hold the couch down with me. I could use some help. It gets tough to do it sometimes. I don't want to cook dinner tonight. I don't want to do the laundry today. It can wait until tomorrow. You have clean clothes in your drawer. We'll be okay. And it's just taking that step back and giving myself that little bit of time. And it's not even like I'm not, you said about mourning the person that you used to be. I don't know that I miss that person, you know? I don't,
You
do
know?
you?
No.
No?
That's why I
Yeah.
said don't mourn the person
Yeah.
that you
Okay.
used to
I'm
be.
sorry.
Yeah. You gotta put the
I don't,
don't in front of it.
yeah, I did. I'm sorry. I didn't hear that part, but I don't miss that person. I don't. I like this version of me. This version of me seems to want to take more care of the inner me. You know, I want to take more care of my mental state and my happiness, and I promised myself and my husband something on August 5th. My oncologist told me I was in remission. And I promised myself at that moment I was going to do whatever I needed to do to take care of that word. He won't tell me I'm cancer free. He won't use NED. He said, give him at least 5 years on meds. He's not using those terms, but I am in remission. And I said, I will do whatever I need to do to take care of that word. And with that comes, it's mind, body, and soul, right?
Yeah.
So I'm doing the best I can do to take care of me. And it looks very different from a year and a half ago, a year ago. So,
It's a growing thing, and
mm,
it's good to recognize like I have to prioritize stuff, and that's where the grace comes in for me because you'll be surprised how many people tell me you don't back away. Like you are either working at home, you're either working at work, you're either doing or planning something and doing this and doing that. Like I'm constantly going. And it's like all work, no play. But then at the same time, if you saw the pieces that the journey left, it's kind of hard to play. It's kind of hard to I'm not going to say to feel joy because I feel joy because I'm here. I'm able to embrace my children. We still have a roof no matter what everything looks like. We're
mm-hmm.
still, we still have each other,
Yep.
you know. So I'm not sad about it, but it's like, okay, this is an unfamiliar place.
Yep.
This is a place that I have to continue to work on to get better. It
Mm-hmm.
has to be better than what this journey tried to take from me. I can't get back into the world the way that I was before. No, I didn't take me through this for nothing. It's a purpose behind it, and now that I know what my purpose is, I have to continue to do it. Like even tonight, like tonight is me showing up because I'm gonna
Yep.
be honest with everybody. When me and Sabrina were talking earlier, I was telling her like I'm just exhausted. I'm drained. And you said earlier, like, I don't want to put names or you said I don't want to put weight on terms. But once you go through breast cancer, or cancer, you've experienced PTSD and trauma. And that trauma is emotional. It's
Mm-hmm.
physical. The PTSD, all of the surgeries, the anxiety. You experience depression. This is in your medical uh, books. Like, look it up. These are
Mm-hmm.
things that we have to deal with after the fact of going through this journey. But
Yep.
we don't talk about it. Everybody walks around like they're fine. I can be around people and I can smile all day. Hey, how you doing? I can crack jokes so that I don't cry, but sometimes I have to step into that restroom and bawl my eyes out and come back
Yep.
and figure it out all over again. But we don't talk about these things. This is why these lives are important. This is why people need to know like, you're not losing your mind. You're not going crazy. You're going through. And when you're going through, the going through is the hardest part. Like, once you get through it, you'll understand why you went through it. But when you're in it, it's hard. And that's even with life.
Yep.
But that's why I say, like you said earlier, giving grace. And it's not just to yourself, but to other people because you never know what anybody has going on around
That's correct.
you. Oh, because I'm telling you that I told you earlier, like it'll probably be a lot for me tonight because it's been it's been emotional, it's been mental, it's been it's a lot. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of things that we go through that we don't talk about. Yeah, I'm transparent, but I have this thing where I want to heal before I speak on certain things, or even in order to help other people. Like you want to heal before you open your mouth and speak it out,
Right. Right.
because you don't want to say or do anything negative that is not good in the light of God. And that's just for me. I don't know what everybody else feels or your thoughts and beliefs on that, but I try not to speak on things until I healed from it.
Right.
Um, so yeah, because I just feel like you're giving the enemy a stronghold to just keep on wearing that thing out. So I just fall back on that. But what are some things, and this may be kind of like the same question, what are some, well, I'm going to ask you this. What is something that you would tell someone who is newly diagnosed? Like, what are some pointers that you would give them, or some things that they
Hmm.
can expect going through the journey? And
Man.
while she's answering that, if anybody wants to join, please press the button because I want to be obedient with time as well.
I you know, I had already said it. And I've commented on, we're on the support groups on Facebook, and that's how you and I met. It's okay to be okay. It's okay to not be okay. Um, it's okay to be selfish and look out for you. It's okay to, do whatever you need to do to get through. Um, you know, don't Oh, for God's sake, stay off of Dr. Google. Stay away from that. Number one.
First rule, write it
First
down, have
rule.
your pencils, your paper.
Holy mackerel. um, but like, other than that, interview your doctors. Interview. It's a big word. Interview. Don't just go in there and say, this is the doctor they're sending me to. um and take that as gospel, like this is the only doctor that you can go to. You go in there and you take your notebook and your pen, and you ask every question that you thought of, and the questions that you didn't think of. you know Whenever they tell you one thing, it's going to raise 30 more questions about other things. Take someone with you to your doctor's appointments, your initial appointments, because you're going to check out. um So, you know, I think interview your doctors is the biggest thing. At least, you know, I know when I walked in and I met my oncologist, we clicked. And so I had no problem with him. Like I knew that him and I were going to have a good relationship.
Mhm.
That was fine. My radiology doctor was actually my mom's radiology doctor. So I was fine with him, and then he retired. So I was kind of like in a jam, but it worked out that I love my new doctor. My plastic surgeon, I didn't click with him at first. And I walked out, my husband's like, I really liked him. And I'm like, really? I kind of want to go see somebody
Yeah.
else. So I did. And I was open and transparent with him, like I'm interviewing, you know? And
I
I
love that.
huh?
I love that. Like I never thought about it as interviewing. I
Mm-hmm.
I ended up doing the process of elimination because I was so, because everything that she's telling y'all is really good information. Because I told them, well, just sign me up for, because I had to get a breast surgeon first.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, send me to whoever has the closest availability because they were rushing. They were already rushing because it was already at a stage 3. And Sabrina, you have a lot of love coming through from, let me see. I want, because I haven't really read any comments. Miss Irma said earlier, this journey is not for the weak. I will tell you, we got to be strong spiritually, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Um, Annie said hi. Hey Annie. Um, because we were just talking, and I wasn't really reading the
That's
comments,
okay.
but Jim said you are our superhero.
That's my stepdad.
Oh, Um, let me see. Let me see. Let me see. It keeps moving. Karen, Karen said, Debbie and Sabrina are both heroes. Jennifer said, God bless you both. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for joining us tonight, Jennifer. Um, Diane said, love you. And Debbie said, thank you both for sharing your stories. Sabrina, love you. Thank you all for watching tonight. But chemo brain. See, I got off task
That's
and
okay.
I forgot. Oh, we were talking about the thing. So, but long story short, because I've shared this a lot on here, I ended up going and looking at the reviews of this particular surgeon, and that was a no
Yeah.
go. Like, no,
Yeah.
you have to do your homework. You have to do your research. So what she's telling y'all is valid information. And Paula earlier, she said she loved her oncologist as well. And I tell all the ladies that I interact with, all the ladies that I've met at the beginning of their journeys, it's like, hey, if you're not comfortable, you have to move around because it's going to be really, really hard to go through fighting for your life and not
Yep.
trusting your care team. I felt like I was on vacation going to the hospital. They needed me out, and I went through it during COVID.
Yes.
Um, it was if you don't trust your care team or feel comfortable, that second opinion is where you need to be.
Yep. For sure. For sure. And then, once I had my care team, my oncologist, he took the reins on everything. He calls all the shots. Like he was the one calling up and saying, "Hey, you need to schedule with this one and that one," and which was great because I there was no guesswork, and that's what I wanted. I wanted somebody to be able to tell me when I needed to call them to schedule my surgery. I needed somebody, you tell me when and where to be, and I'll be
Yeah,
there. And then, in the end of it all, we all end up in this amazing club we never wanted to be a part of, the Survivors Club. Here we are, and we're all connected, um, from our fight, from just we've all been through it.
yeah,
No matter what it looked like, we've just all been through it, and we've come out on the other side, and we're all in the same club. And I hope that someday people stop having to get to this point. I hope that someday that there's some medical advancements made so that people don't even have to deal with this anymore.
yeah. Because it's definitely it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and we have to be. And this is one of the things that um came to me. We have to be the change that we want to see, and me doing this is one of those things like I wanted when I was
Hmm.
going through. I would go through insomnia all the time, and I'm like, I wish I could watch because I would honestly get on Facebook and type in triple. Like I typed in all kinds of stuff, even on TikTok, like triple positive, stage 3 survivors, and then I get all these horrific stories,
Hmm.
and then I'm like, oh snap, like that's gonna happen to me. This is gonna happen, and I'm like, no, you're not putting that on yourself.
Yeah.
What are you doing? So this is one of those things. And it's a what is the quote by Dr. Seuss? Unless someone like you cares a whole lot. If y'all seen that movie, what is it? If someone it takes someone to care a whole lot, um, or something like that. In order, hold on, because I want to make sure that I quote this right. Um, the quote, unless someone like you cares a whole lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So at the end of the day, it's like even going through the journey, you have something to offer. Um, even when you're outside of the journey, you have something to offer. Even whenever it feels like your whole life is piling on top of you, you still have something to offer. Because there's always somebody out there that's going through it and they're going through it a little bit worse off than you.
Yep.
It may be a lot bit worse off. But if you reach back and you help that person, I feel like we get blessed from being blessing. And when people realize that, it's okay to help somebody else and not you know, try to do everything on your own or demand that others do it on their own. That ripple effect, just imagine like what the world would look like if we all pitched in and just helped each other.
Yep.
It would be such a beautiful place.
Yep.
It would be such a beautiful place to be in. But we're not trying to save the world right now, right here. We're just trying to help people who are going through cancer diagnoses and journeys, giving them hope, encouragement, and inspire them to keep going.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times where you just want to quit, like you just want to throw in the towel. But you have to remember that unless someone likes you, cares a whole lot. Nothing is going to change. It's not. And when I heard that Dr. Seuss quote, I was like, I hear you. I got you.
Yep.
You know, we got to care enough to reach back. So it's very important. Um, I'm trying to be obedient with time with you tonight because I don't know what you have going on after this. But anything,
Oh, it's 10 o'clock here.
yeah, yeah, it's just now 9 here. So is there anything else that you would like to share?
Um, I just want to remind everybody to be an advocate for yourself. You know, don't just, if a doctor says to you, oh, we're just going to keep an eye on it for a while, that does not have to sit okay with you. That does not have to sit well. Again, go find another doctor. Go find another doctor. Go find another, because when somebody says, like, we're going to keep an eye on this, there's something to look at.
Yep.
And, Krystal and I had this conversation before we got on. There's something that they're looking at and they don't know what it is. They can't tell what it is just by looking at a scan. They actually have to take a piece of it and test it. So please, please, please advocate for yourself. If you have a first degree relative that had cancer, make sure that's charted right for you so that you
Mm-hmm.
can get the scans that you're eligible for. Advocate, advocate, advocate. And it just stings that we have to do so much of that for ourselves. You have to become a medical professional just to manage your medical. Um, the other thing is, you know, it's 10 o'clock at night, but tomorrow's Friday. So I need everybody to promise that they're going to get on the phone tomorrow and schedule their scans. I don't care what you're getting scanned, get it scanned. I don't care if you got to get your teeth checked, do it. Because, you got gums in there and gum cancer's a thing. So, like, just get your scans, get your checks, get checked. Get checked. That's all.
Yeah. Make sure you stay up to date on
Yeah,
your scans and your things. I love that. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make it mandatory from now on. Every Thursday, we're gonna remind everybody to go and get checked
get
because
checked.
we
That's how
have to.
so on my personal Facebook, I use it a lot more now for awareness and to log my story and stuff. And I always end everything in all caps. It says, get checked,
Yep.
and like I'll end something and say, okay, now that you've read this, get off here, go get checked. Um, Early detection is the key. Early
That was
detection is the key.
exactly what I was gonna say. Early
Yep.
detection is key, and a lot of people, a lot of the ladies that I've met have been stage 1, stage 2. There's some stage 3 as well, but you know, um, a lot of people feel like if you're at stage 3, stage 4, so on and so forth, that all hope is lost. That is furthest from the truth. I do want to leave everybody with this amazing thing. I was told that there is someone that lives in my state who is going through a later diagnosis that spread, and they've been doing fine for the past 20 years. So
Hmm.
at the end of the day, don't allow your stage or the stage that you hear to define you. And remember that no matter what, that is only what it is so that they know how to treat you. Early
Correct.
detection saves lives, but even if you catch it, no matter when you catch it, a lot of times, at least you're giving yourself the opportunity to fight.
Yep.
Um, so don't get discouraged. Stay in the fight, and you know that there is support here if you need it. You can always send me an inbox. These days have been a bit overwhelming. I will be honest. I do have a few people in my inbox that I'm getting back to as of now. So just please give me grace and remember that I too have gone through the journey and I too have my days. And this week has been a week. I will be honest with you guys. But Sabrina, I want to thank you so much for coming
Oh,
and for sharing your story. And I honestly look forward to you coming back. I look forward to you being in the comments, hopping on, talking to other ladies.
I'll
Like
be here.
if whenever you're available, we would definitely love to have you. Like I said, I thank you for the words that you gave me earlier, the encouragement, the reminders, and the inspiration to keep going. Um, for everything. So just thank you for answering and saying yes and
Well,
showing.
th thank you, Crystal, for giving me the opportunity to put my story out there. And you and I share a passion for advocating and for relationships and for support, and so it's a pleasure to spend this hour with you.
Very much pleasure, and I can't wait to do it again. I
Agreed.
cannot wait to do it again. So this we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna end for tonight. And I want to thank everyone for watching. If you haven't already, please follow the page so that you can keep up with future lives. We will be here every Thursday. I am working at more nights where we can come on and maybe do it a little bit earlier on a different night. But just give me time to work out some things and we will revisit that later. But again, if you have not followed, please follow, please share, because we want these lives to reach those who really need to see them. There's a lot of people who are going through this and they are going through it alone, some which are suffering in silence. So we want to make sure that they know that they have support, they are supported, and that they can reach out to us and connect with us whenever they want to or whenever they're ready. So thank you all for watching, and I can't wait to see y'all again next week. Good night.
Good night.